Welcome here at Infinite Real Estate Group. We're at the Own It podcast. We are here with actually Silverback Home Warranties with Brian and Jason. And so we thought we'd bring them in and talk a little bit about home warranties because I think this is a topic that gets brushed over a lot. And the buyers end up selecting something last minute and not realizing what they're even getting out of it. So, and um, yeah, oh well. We but yeah, but when we're doing these, and I was at fault on this too. When I first bought my first home, I had no idea what to even think about it. The seller actually paid for my home warranty, and I ended up getting some national company. Our water heater went out the first week, and they sent out some guy, and this guy's like, "Well, unfortunately, because it's not physically leaking water, we don't cover it." So I had to actually pay him $50 to show up as like our fee and all for nothing.
Mhm.
And so I'm like, man, well, what good is this stupid thing? And so I've always been a little like before I was in real estate, I had a really bad um like idea of what a home warranty company was. And I thought it was, honestly just like a scam. And so no, I mean, now that we're in real estate and now that we have a really good relationship with Silverback, it is like a night and day difference. And it's things that I wish I would have known going into buying my first home. So happy to have you guys
Absolutely.
here.
Oh, it's so
Happy
good
to
to
be
be
here.
here.
Yep.
It's really common actually for homeowners to have that kind of experience where they move in and they don't know like what their seller did or didn't do or how they maintained or
Yeah.
did not maintain their house. And so when someone when someone moves in, it's very common that when they have maybe a national home warranty that A, they probably didn't hear from that company, and B, they don't even know like what's covered. And so the
Yeah.
fact that you even had, you had somebody come out and take a look at it was actually a win.
Yeah. I
'Cause
think I had to like track down my real estate agent that I really didn't know. And then he had to call title and then
uh-huh.
like even to get the information to know who to call and what my policy number was and all this was like, it was a mess.
Yeah.
And it's a completely different experience when we're actually working with you guys. So why don't you guys tell us a little bit about yourselves, Silverback,
Yeah.
and how you guys are different. Let's just start there.
Well, I appreciate you telling that story because that is it's a very common thing that people hear that I hear from homeowners and from real estate agents. And so let's go back in time. So I was born on a Tuesday morning at
Perfect.
7:30 a.m. back in June. So should we go back that far, or did you want to? I
Now
can go.
that's good.
I can go back further if you'd like.
That's really good.
So my background, I really liked computer science, and I went to BYU, got a degree in marriage counseling.
And how's that make you feel?
You know what? Like I'm still married. On my fourth marriage though. So
You know how to marry really well.
He does.
I worked for Adobe for a while, did marketing and sales for them, and then worked for a real estate team doing lead generation for a few years. And I really have a passion for marketing and lead generation. While I was doing lead generation, I got marketed to a bunch from like different home warranty companies, and it actually piqued my
Yeah.
curiosity. Yeah, like probably like you've probably seen some people coming around, and the way that they marketed or what I was experiencing was odd actually. And so what what I realized I wanted to do was like, hey, maybe there's an opportunity in this home warranty space. Like, what are they about? Why are they marketing this way? It feels different than some other companies. And so I went through this discovery phase of like 6, 7 months, just gathering insights. And what I did was I called over 100 real estate agents that I didn't know, most of them up in Salt Lake County because I was living in Utah County. And I asked them these questions. I said, have you used a home warranty? What was your experience? What do you like about the home warranty industry here in Utah? And what do you not like about the home warranty industry? And one of the themes that I heard over and over again from agents was, home warranty companies suck. And I asked them like, why? Like, what's going on? And they said, well, they don't ever call the client. It just seems really odd that like the seller's paying for this home warranty, and then they don't even bother to call them. And that just seemed
Yeah.
really like short-sighted to me.
I mean, and it's something we sell our clients. Like, hey,
Sure.
don't worry about, yeah, I understand that the home inspector said that we could be, at the end of life on this furnace or,
Yeah.
AC unit. It is kind of at that age where things start going down, but don't worry, you have you know, a large equipment, coverage on your home warranty. I'm
Yeah.
like, well, what does that really mean? Like, I
Exactly.
thought that's what I had when my water heater broke and didn't help me one bit.
Right. Yeah, it's really common. It's unfortunate because what I think happened with a lot of home warranty companies, whether they were national or local, they took too much of a short-term viewpoint with not just the relationship they had with real estate agents or with title, but with the homeowner. They really just thought, "Oh, I'm going to get paid one time. I might get paid this $500 or the $600, and so we better maximize our profit because that's all we're going to get." Whereas what we've decided, like with our business with Silverback Home Warranty, is we wanted to take this long-term view of what's the lifetime relationship that we're going to have with these clients. Much like our real estate partners want referrals for life, we want these clients to renew year after year. And we didn't know like what we were getting into, like how difficult of a battle that would be, how uphill it would be. But honestly, it is, I'd say, the only way that a company can operate where that trust doesn't get eroded over time. Because
Yeah.
if you have like a client that you care about and they receive this home warranty and then they never called, and maybe your homeowner even had problems in their house because the seller neglected something, and then, oh, why didn't you call your home warranty company?
Yeah.
So I'll ask you, like, have you ever had the occasion where one of your clients called you and said, "Hey, Jared, did we get a home warranty?"
Yeah, actually, very rarely,
Okay.
do we actually
Yeah.
follow up on that. And, now though, like more and more that, I mean, just like you, I've kind of started from, kind of like grew and grew and grew. And I've started out just being an investor to a solo agent to, I'm going to run a team. Now we're going to do a whole brokerage. And, but it never sunk in at the beginning of my career how valuable my relationships were with like my sphere of influence and stuff. But now it's like maybe because it's second nature to me, but people will always like my agents will ask, I'm like, well, because I always preach, hey, you should be reaching out to your clients, your sphere of influence at least 4 times a year. Well, I don't know what to say, and I don't want to like come off as salesy and make them think, oh, here's Jared calling me again, trying to sell me a house or sell my house. I'm like, no, like this is a perfect opportunity, especially on the home warranty side, to say like, "Hey, like 3 months into owning their house, how's your house doing? How are things going? Do you have all your information for your home warranty company? Is there anything that maybe I could help you out with and connecting you with Ryan or Jason to like, is something not working properly?" Because half the time, if we're not helping them, there's so much going on in their life when it comes to moving and unpacking. And usually it's like we're going to start our family and it's life takes over. And then the next thing you know, they completely forget
Right.
that they either paid that 600 or it was given to them, which, like through the seller and the
Yeah.
negotiation of the contract.
I talk about that uphill battle. And let me just kind of
Yeah, I
like
was going to ask about
frame
that.
that out a little bit more because, you know, our whole focus in our business is we want homeowners to renew. Like, right, I was talking about we want clients to renew year after year after year. The only way that happens is if they know they have a home warranty,
Yeah,
right? They know how it works, and even they have to call in and have like an issue or an often or like a rekey even, right? Like they
yeah,
use our service and they have a good experience, then they see value enough so that they're like, oh yeah, at the end of the year, I'll pay $600 for that. And if they don't have those things, then they don't renew. And I've got lots of data that shows homeowners that don't use their policy don't renew.
yeah.
And so, one of the things that we do is we do 3 touches, like, by the time they move in, we wanna make sure they hear from us. And
Smart.
shortly thereafter, they get a brochure, they get an email. They know that, if their home warranty came because their agent negotiated it, we want them to know that. then they get a welcome phone call from us. Like that's unheard of in my industry. As simple as it is, like, oh, you call the client.
So wait a second. You guys have to nurture your clients just like everybody else.
Yeah,
You guys don't just sit around and wait for the checks to come in.
that would be a good. We should be doing quick buck. We want the long buck. I don't know. That's not even a thing.
Yeah, no, I hear what you mean, and that's, I mean, I think it goes back to if you just bring it back to like running a business and sales and like, I mean, most people, most real estate agents, and I think you could say this for any industry, if you're going to sit and wait for your phone to ring, you're going to be waiting a long time.
Mhm.
But when you like what you just described, like, hey, we're reaching out to them, we're touching them 3 different times, we're letting them know who we are, what they need. I mean, we want them to see
Yeah.
the value in what they got.
And I'll say as, the sales guy for Jason here,
Yeah,
like it's so fun for me to be able to go out and talk to agents, talk to title companies and say, Jason wants to hear from people. He wants people to call up. He wants claims. We want them to utilize the home warranty, and we go as far as offering that free service call coupon where their first service call is on us. So it makes, for me, being able to go out there and talk to people and build that trust, saying, no, it's kind of counterproductive, but sounds like that way. But we want them to file claims. We want them to use the home warranty.
yeah,
And so, kind of your experience that you had that was a bad experience, it's kind of fun to be able to go out there and say, "Hey, we want that opportunity to show how we work."
absolutely. I mean, because if you don't get to show your value and what your company does and the benefits that you provide, I mean, that's where the referrals come in. That's where the raving fans come in. And if you don't even give them the opportunity to experience that, then I mean, I refer to it a lot like, I mean, it's just a one night stand and you're, it's just a wham bam, thank you, ma'am. Like,
Yeah.
man, I want something long lasting. I want my customers to keep coming back to me, and I want them to like, if they're at a friend's barbecue or something and they're talking about maybe selling or buying, I want to be the first person they think about.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Everybody knows what it's like to be, transaction based, and it doesn't feel good, right? When you are the means of someone else's end, right? Like they want to use you to get what they want.
Yeah,
And that never feels good. We all know what that feels like.
yeah,
And so like what I love is I want homeowners, whoever is involved in my industry, to give us feedback. And I ask it all the time, like, what Brian was saying. Like I want, yes, I love hearing about the raving things that we do. That's great. Like that feels good, but it's actually not useful for my business. I want the bad stuff, unfortunately. Like I want any negative or any friction that anybody's feeling at any point, because that's like the fuel to like make us better and to go to the next level and make sure that homeowners are having like a seamless awesome experience from the beginning to end. And so we have a lot of systems and processes and meetings related to, the onboarding process with welcome phone calls. What is it like with contractors, and how are the contractors communicating? What's the feedback? Like we have feedback that we're getting from
yeah,
homeowners when the contractors leave the house, because the contractors are the face of my company. And so they need to be looking good and operating in a really clean, quick way so homeowners are happy. And contractors that have good feedback from the homeowners, they get more of our business. So that's how we're locally trying to find more and more, young and up and coming contractors, electricians, appliance repairmen, plumbers that want more leads. We
yeah.
want to work
So
with them.
so tell me a little bit about how your company's structured, and then let's kind of go into the value of what you guys cover because it's definitely a lot more unique and straightforward, I think, compared to like if I go back to my experience from this national brand, it's like, well, if I knew there had to be water on the ground, I would have shoved a screwdriver in my water softener before you showed up. Like, it's like there was just so many like loopholes and stuff. Like, how am I like seriously? If I knew that, I wouldn't have even like paid you, like had you come out
Yeah.
because it was money out of my pocket
Yeah.
that I didn't have it there. So yeah, kind of tell us a little bit about like, like how you guys do business. Because like one thing, I won't spoil it for everybody, but you guys are we're local here in Utah. And so tell us which areas you guys cover and, how your company works when it comes to filing claims and stuff.
Awesome. Yeah, so we cover from Logan, which is up north, all the way down to St. George, as well as the Vernal, Duchesne area. I keep wanting to say Duchesne because that, it's just the funniest thing to say. Like, actually comes to my mind first before Duchesne.
Kind of like Leahy and Thule.
Leahy and Thule. Exactly. So those are our areas that we cover, and every once in a while, we'll get requests from, oh, hey, do you cover this really rural town? And most of the time, we're gonna say no. We don't want an order in that area, especially if we don't have like 2 levels deep of contractors. I just don't want to have a homeowner to have a bad experience with us where, oh, shoot, you know what? This one contractor that we use all the time, he's kind of on vacation right now, and so we can't really help you out. Like that's just not the
Yeah.
kind of experience we want them to have, and so I'd rather not even get an order in that area. And related to contractors, like what we'll do is we go through like Google reviews. We ask our real estate partners who they love, and we'll do interview processes to make sure that they, how long have they been in business? How many trucks do they have? And have you covered these kinds of, error, like, um, have you had, water heater replacements? Do you know how to do, cartridges? Do you know how to do some, mainline stoppages? How extensive is your expertise? Because we don't want to send a rookie who just barely got his license, 6 months ago to go in and, dabble. That's
Yeah.
never a good experience for anybody.
Okay. So you guys don't actually have the contractors and stuff in-house, but these are people that you have vetted and work with and,
Yeah.
do business in the Salt Lake area.
Yeah, and we really would like to. We prefer to work with smaller companies, a 1, 2, 3 man shop kind of thing, 3 trucks or something. We like operating with the smaller ones because the amount of volume of service requests that we provide is a decent amount of work. And so if we can provide a decent amount of work for one of these companies, they're going to provide a high level of service. They're going to respond quickly to us and the customer. They're going to get out there very quickly. They're going to provide really good pricing. They're going to just from beginning to end, it's really rock solid.
Yeah, so
And
you're creating a partnership that even them as contractors are valuing.
and we pay them quickly as well. Like that's another
Yeah.
thing that really matters to them. I love getting the phone call from a contractor that says, "Hey Jason, what position am I in?" They want to know, am I number 1? Am I number 2? Am I number 3? Like how do I get to number 2 or number 1? I want to get more of your work. And so for me, I feel like that's a real like we're really aligned well with contractors and homeowners so that we're on the same team when it comes to getting a job done quickly.
That's awesome. Cool. So tell me a little bit about like what you guys cover and what that looks like for a homeowner.
Yeah, Brian, do you want to talk about
Absolutely. Brian, you're in the hot seat.
Oh no.
Go.
Oh no.
he was ready for this? Let's see how
I
ready he
really
is.
wasn't. Where's my brochure? I know I've got one over here. No. I mean, and it just depends on how deep you want to go, but
Do you
you
need to
know,
borrow my office, Jason, for an exit interview?
wouldn't be surprised. It was fun while it lasted.
No, we love Brian. Brian, he comes into our team meetings all the time, and he just blends right in, and
Yep,
everybody knows him. And I mean, for us, that's a huge value.
yeah,
That whether it's, I mean, I'm dealing with new build agents, we're dealing with home inspectors, home warranty companies, and usually the ones that I like to go with are the ones that show up and never leave because I know I can count on them. And
absolutely.
they
We're gonna be
create
there.
relationships with our team
Yeah,
and they know who you are and
yeah,
it's just it's it's seamless. Nobody has to work at or guess or who do we it's just it's there.
yeah. No, I appreciate that, and it's fun coming in and working with your team. You have a great team
Yeah.
here, but as far as the coverage that we have, we don't look at every single home as being cookie cutter. We know that they're all unique. And so we provide 3 different levels of plans. We have a 400, 500, $600 plan and over 20 add-ons that we can have. And so as
Got
real
it.
estate agents are out showing homes to their buyers, we always try to talk about, okay, let's look around the house and make sure that everything that your buyers want to have covered is being covered.
Yeah.
Because there's things like, a basement apartment or a second kitchen. Maybe they have 2 HVAC units. Maybe they have a swimming pool. Maybe they have central vacuum. some of those things that may not be covered in one of our plans can be covered with an add-on,
Okay.
and that's always important to look at. Uh,
Most of our add-ons, I'd just say, was built just from, relationships with real estate agents of what they were interested in, what they wanted to hear. So a couple of those, I'll mention one, like the water, gas, sewer lines, those lateral lines that come from the street. Like, no company covers those,
Yeah.
but because we heard often enough from our homeowners and real estate agents, like, hey, I think that would be worthwhile. And so we dug into it, and we got the data that showed, like, hey, we need to cover this. This is going to be useful.
I just got a house in Rose Park. It's 1950s, and I know it has a clay sewer running out there.
Let's throw it on. Let's get that thing covered.
As an agent, I would be
Yeah.
telling my
yeah.
client, say, look, like first thing we need to do is get the sewer scoped.
Yeah.
Because if it's not done and it hasn't been done recently and your house is in the 50s, you'd be wise to cover that under a warranty.
Yeah. Another one that's really interesting that is useful during the real estate transaction is our buyer credit related to concessions. So we want to close as quickly as possible. Everybody does, right? We don't want to have anything between we go under contract to close date where something's going to have to get repaired, where the seller's going to have to pay for something, the roof has a leak, this HVAC has a problem. So any of those things, like we have a seller concession option that's a buyer credit that can get sent to the home warranty. All we need is just a text and email that says, hey, you know what? $3,200 of that is going to go towards carpet. $5,200 of that is going to go towards this roof repair. And that way, like we can we can reach out to the roofer, we can reach out to the carpet company, get them a couple quotes within the first week of moving in. We want to make sure that homeowners, within the first 30 days, all that money gets moved out of our account. It's not an escrow account, but within the first 30 days, we'd like that out. We have a 5% management fee on those kind of things, and so that's really useful because we're in that kind of market where that's happening.
Got it.
Yeah, and then with especially here in Utah where we have a lot of new construction going on, we also have new construction policies where generally the home builder is going to cover the first year.
Yep.
We can come in and cover years 2 through 4, so they get 3 years worth of coverage, starting at $525 for all 3 years.
Yeah, which is phenomenal.
Great value. Yeah, and then for agents, listing coverage. So while the home's on the MLS, we can offer free listing coverage for the agents, and
Yeah.
great
Which
way
I
to
don't know if a
add
lot of
value.
agents even understand that that's available to them.
I completely
Um,
agree with you.
I didn't know
Yeah.
it was available, and
Yep.
our amazing operations manager Angie, she's like, "Hey, I've got this. I'll get it all set up, and I'll make sure
Yeah.
everything's good to
Oh,
go."
it's a fantastic way to go to give your clients more value, right?
Yeah,
I mean, you're always looking for ways to add value for your clients, and that's a great way to do it.
yeah, absolutely.
Perfect.
So let's. Is that every like? Did we cover enough about like your what you guys offer? Like, I want to make sure that that gets out there because I think a lot of times it's just glossed over. So
Yeah, maybe a couple other things. One would be uh emergencies. When you're in your home, what we would classify as an emergency would probably not be, hey, my ice maker's not working. I need to get ice. Like, but probably more, my AC's not working and it's really hot outside.
yeah,
Or during the winter, oh, my furnace isn't working. We need to get someone out here quickly. So between us and our contractors, we're going to respond really quickly, and usually within under 24 hours, we're going to have it diagnosed and or replaced or fixed. Not replaced, but fixed.
yeah,
And if we can't get that, we want to have some portable AC units there in the house, or like some portable little heaters to
yeah.
heat up some rooms. That's really important. That's things that I've done. That's thing that Brian's done, and so we want to make sure that homeowners are comfortable. If it can't get done within the first 24 hours, it's one of those things we really want homeowners to know that we care, that we're here, that we're local. We're not some billion-dollar company that's just sitting in executive offices, but
Yeah.
we want them to know that we're here for them and that we got their back.
Got it. And what so this that kind of brought up a question that I was wondering is like with the economy and what we've dealt with over the last 2 years and inventory issues, I mean, all the way from part issues on furnaces and ACs, like how do you guys deal with that? When it comes to like responding within 24 hours and stuff, like how have you guys dealt with it and how have you guys kind of like adapted to
Yeah, great
be
question.
successful?
So contractors have on average raised prices on us 15 to 20% in the last year and a half. So in 2021 to 2023, we have increased one of our plans from 500 to 600, but we have not increased our service call fee. Most other companies are, 70, $80 for the service call fee to have a contractor come out just to diagnose it,
Yeah.
not to even fix something. And so that's one thing that we've really felt was important that, there's a lot of people that are hurting out there with what's happening with the economy and inflation. And so we've not adjusted a lot because of that. We've really wanted to make sure that they have the coverage and that they can quickly get a hold of us and they like the service and it's not too sharp of a change. So
Yeah, but what about like parts? Let's say because I ran into this experience. I mean, my home wasn't under warranty. Um, and I realize I can be updating this stuff now.
what did you have
Um,
break? What broke down?
my furnace broke, and it
Oh,
was it was in the middle of some. No, not my first. Sorry, my AC.
in the
Um,
summer.
and I guess something about the fan or the squirrel cage in there, like something the welds broke loose or something, and it was up in my attic, and it's like shaking the whole
Oh,
house.
wow.
And when the guy came out, he said, "Well, I mean, unfortunately, here's what's wrong with it, but the part's on back order, and they don't have an ETA when it's going to come in. So your best bet is to replace the whole furnace."
Mm,
I'm like, what? Like,
mm,
and I mean, it was 100. That was when we were dealing with 100-degree weather, and I'm like, I had one of these portable Home Depot swamp coolers in my master bedroom, and I mean, it was a mess, like type of thing. And then I ended up just like after a couple of days of dealing with it, I'm like, fine, I'm buying a new furnace. Like, I'm
oh
not
yeah.
waiting for this. And so I'm just curious,
Oh
like,
yeah.
how do you guys handle that when it
That's
comes
a
to a home warranty?
That is
And
that's a good question because I'd say in the last 2 years related to parts being on back order, I think we've had that happen maybe twice.
okay,
So it has not been that common. And I'm talking about hundreds and hundreds of claims a month that we're handling. And so for that to happen, I don't wanna poke at that contractor who said that, but it would probably be worthwhile getting a second opinion. And so
yeah,
whenever we've weeded through contractors and we kind of know who's who and how they operate. Are they on commission? Are they actually going to be upright and honest in how they're diagnosing things? And if there's anything ever questionable about one, we'll often send out for a second opinion because it's important that we get the facts of what's happening. Like if a heat exchanger, oh, does it actually is it really leaking? Like this one
yeah.
person said it's leaking, we got to replace the whole furnace. Well, let's get a second opinion on that. But also with AC units, like you can't last too long, right?
No,
In 100-degree temperature, like
I was about ready to move my whole family into my office.
yeah.
So, well, that's interesting because yeah, I mean that does make me think like, did I have the right contractor in there? I mean, so yeah, very interesting because I just kind of trusted him and maybe I shouldn't have.
It never hurts getting a second opinion.
Well, I'll just leave it at that, and we'll just
Next time we'll have our
Yeah.
warranty take care of that and have our
yeah,
contractor
yeah,
come out.
yeah. The
Have
warranties
somebody resolve that.
100%.
Yeah.
So here's one thing that I was wondering about is when you guys are like, I'd love to hear, and this has always been a favorite question of mine because of my wife's a school teacher, and I'll get into that story here in a second. But like, what are some crazy stories that you guys have dealt with? Like, 'cause I'm sure with insurance companies, like, I mean, and like people filing things, I'm sure there's just some funny, like, are you serious right now? And long story short, like my wife used to be a school teacher. She's an amazing developer now. She manages lots of portfolios. But she was a foods and nutrition's teacher, and she'd always have the health department come in, as one of their little segments to talk about like food safety and what's required in restaurants and things like that. And obviously, you get a bunch of high school kids in there, and they're like, "What's the worst thing that's ever happened?" or something. And I mean, we love Chinese food. It's something we love, but I guess like no, not naming any names, but we did have to shut down someone because the pigeons became the chicken,
Oh
type of thing. And so, but it's like,
It's terrible.
hearing some of those things, I'm like, okay, you guys as a warranty company have got to have had some stories out there.
This one might have to go to Jason because I have limited experience. So
I have too many to share.
I've heard some of them.
There's a
So.
few that I cannot share actually. But every Christmas we have a little Silverback Christmas party, and one of the things we do is bingo. And so the items on the bingo card are often, just funny things that happened
Yeah.
that year. But one of those that was pretty funny was a lady was her fridge went out and she lost her Jello, and she wanted to see if we would pay for her Jello that went bad because the fridge,
Did you pay for her Jello?
on
Just
that.
give the lady some Jello.
She wanted, and she said, "I lost my Jello on the fall equinox." I don't know what was significant about that day. But another one of my favorites was a guy who was talking about um
Disposal.
his disposal.
I know this one.
Yeah, and we have it recorded. Like I probably can't put it online, but we were like, "What's going on with your disposal?" He's like, "Well, it's it's just making some sounds like and he like imitated it.
Can you say that one more time for
Yeah,
me?
yeah, it was pretty fantastic.
Uh,
Yeah.
oh, that's great. So what are what's kind of a 5 year like? What's your vision for Silverback?
We want to keep growing here in Utah. There's plenty of room to fill out here in Utah, but we have some other states that we have our eyeballs on, and we're getting some data from. Um, probably probably Arizona, Idaho, Nevada. Those are probably the first three that we'd move into. But there's still plenty of room to grow here in Utah. I've had a good mentor. I don't know if you've heard of Alma Jepson. He sold Landmark Home Warranty a few years back.
We're in Utah. Everybody's heard of Alma.
Yeah,
Just
that name.
well, not him specifically.
That name, yeah. Yeah, well, the business model that he built that company on that he sold was a really rock solid one, and it was based on the renewal, and that really goes a long way when you want to form relationships, long term. And it's not delivering value to homeowners, but also who are the partners that we're working with, and so how can we best partner with real estate agents and add a lot of value there. And so that's a lot of my time also is spent there. So I have a passion for marketing, and so I do workshops and CE classes and one-on-ones to help with video, mindset and habits, another one on database and generating referrals in your sphere. A lot of those things are transferable from things that I learned from Adobe, which is, a massive company, down
Yeah.
to just a solo agent or in a title company. So many of these things that transfer from one business and from one industry to the next.
Yeah, no, and I mean that just kind of brought me back to my days because I'm a electrical engineer by trade. I worked for a big Fortune 100 company doing medical device um, repairs, and I specialized in laser refraction. Then I kind of morphed into doing leadership, running a whole engineering team, and then from there, there were some projects that I kind of got like sucked into because they were intriguing to me, and a lot of it was like our database management and our workflow, all the way from sales to tech support to dispatching it to service, and like I really got sucked into this whole like world of database and customer management, CRMs and stuff. And when I saw my wife and how she managed her business in real estate, very successful. She'd sell a good 30, 40 homes a year. And when I realized what she was doing, I'm like, holy smokes, like this is very archaic, all the way to the point where hers was like John and Jane is the first name, and then last name looking for a home in West Jordan. I'm like, that's how you keep track of your customers? Like, how do you? She's like, yes, that's how I keep track of them. She's getting frustrated at me because and when I came into the real estate world, I've always done investing and I've always helped with the flips and buy and holds and analyzing the projects. But she started getting into coaching and like, okay, my life's a mess right now. I've like, typical like agent that gets in, it's has no time for anything else but work. It consumed her life with everything. So she's like, I gotta quit or I've got to get some help. And so she got some coaching through a coaching platform called Tom Ferry. And I said, well, hey, if you're going to pay for that coaching, I want to do it with you because I think there's a place I can help you. And not only could I help her, I realized how many agents were just like her, how archaic things were done in this industry to the point where I decided to, like, I think it's time for me to quit because I think there's some changes I can make, maybe not within the industry, but with the people that surround me. And so, like, I took a lot of these tools, just like you're talking about, from going from like Adobe and stuff, like, and like, hey, I can do this better and I can make a difference, and we can have fun doing it. So it's kind of just makes me reminisce and bring back those times of, like taking that skill set and going, because that's interesting because you're computer science, right?
Yeah. Well, like you, I mean, it's interesting if you were to reflect on the last few days, like if you're talking to a real estate agent or if you're consulting with an investor or a buyer or a seller, there's skills that you're using like in that moment that you probably gained when you were back there back at, 10, 15 years ago. And it's comforting knowing like, the things that I'm focused on right now and that I'm doing the hard work are going to pay off later.
Yeah.
And it's awesome that you can do that with your wife.
Yeah. No, it's been
Not
good.
everybody gets to do that.
I mean, we've learned to stay in our lane because if not, like you get I don't consider myself like that red personality. Like she's very much like just a driver,
Yeah.
and I'm more of a data, like analytical, type of person. But there's times when me being an analytical person, I've already thought through this probably months in my head and worked out the issues and stuff before I've even brought it to her as like, hey, what do you think about this? And so when she said when her opinion goes against mine, I mean, that caused a lot of fights because I'm like, no, I've already done this. I've already worked it out in my head. I've already ran the data. I've already ran the numbers. I'm doing this. She's like, I don't want to do it. Like, and being a driver, she's gonna put her foot down and she's gonna make sure that you know, and so it works out well now. I run the real estate brokerage and she runs the development company. So it works,
Awesome.
but it definitely was a learning curve
Yeah.
working with a spouse.
Staying in your lane. What other lessons have you learned from just working with your spouse and how to manage that relationship, the personal side versus the business side? And do you guys have regular meetings?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I have now turned into the interviewee. Um,
Jason has a
Well,
knack of doing that.
Welcome to Jason's podcast at Silverback.
we're gonna do a little marriage consulting right now.
Chaz, can you please go get Amy up here for our marriage therapy? No, so uh, yeah, let me kind of elaborate on what I've learned from that because there's actually been some very unique things that we have learned because we've been in business for almost 10 years, and during that time we actually do see a marriage therapist, and I think it's a healthy thing to like
Oh yeah.
just check in and have that person bring up questions, and then because I mean, let's face it, we all fight with our spouses, and but it's all on how we handle it and stuff. And the cool thing about how, like, it didn't we go on we're very good about, like, every Friday night we go on dates. That's our date night. Our kids know that date night is Friday night, so don't ask to, like, mom and dad are going to be gone. They know that, like, whatever kid's in the next pecking order, yeah, you're the babysitter, you're the oldest, the other ones have
Yeah.
work. Um, but we realized as we were going on our date nights, everything was all about work and the kids.
Mm.
Like, and even more so, we have a lot of assets that we manage, especially like we have several storage facilities, multifamily, a lot of single family. And it just seemed like everything that we talked about was consumed with that. And I remember we were talking with our therapist, and she's like, guys, like, your emotional intimacy, your connection, you're emotionally not like we've got to. That's what we got to work on. And I was like, huh, like I don't know. Well, being a data guy, I really dug into that. And I'm like, holy cow, this all makes sense. Like, and like it got so bad to the point that she gave us a little printout, and I would keep a little cue card with like questions on it. Like, so if you were going to be able to go on a trip, which one, like, would you rather do this or this? Like, so we had to start by asking questions to each other that, I mean, being 20 years of marriage and like dating and like when you're dating and getting to know someone, it's real easy to ask those questions that start building that emotional connection.
Yeah, yeah.
When we're 20 years into it, it's like, damn kids, like, you know, like job sucks, like, or whatever it is. It's like you're just venting to that person now. And we had to get back to the basics almost. And so, yeah, it was interesting.
It's it's interesting, like, relationships start where one place, like you're saying, but then they build and they morph and they evolve over time, and you do have to kind of like take inventory of like what's
Yeah,
healthy, what do we want, and maybe there's nothing wrong with talking business every night at date night,
sure.
as long as there's that emotional connection.
Yeah,
So that's really cool.
yeah. No, and it's being that we like, yeah, I mean, because I love it. I remember the first time that I went into, um, like I was working as a biomed, and I feel like there's another conversation going on. Damn you, Chaz.
Oh, we just have someone already commented asking about nothing. Oh, did you see it?
Not yet, but we'll get into it. Hold on, viewer. We will get to your question in a second. I was really into this story, and
Yeah, did you finish your story? Yeah. Sorry,
I
Chad.
don't even know what I was talking about.
I think it's
So
horseback
good.
riding. It was horseback riding, right?
Horseback riding. I actually got a story about horseback riding. I'll never do it again. Was actually up Draper Canyon before all that before all that Corner Canyon stuff was there. Um, no, yeah, I don't know what it was. Thanks a lot, Chaz the engineer.
Oh yeah.
All right, what was the question? We have somebody that's listening in. Thank you for listening, by the way.
It's Kelly, and she was just wondering if they have people in Logan.
Oh, that's my mom.
We do.
She's
We
my
do.
biggest fan.
That's amazing. Thanks,
That's
Kelly from Logan. We
fantastic.
do have contractors in Logan, and we would love to service. And maybe one thing we didn't mention just on the home warranty side before we like totally abandon that, move on,
Yeah,
is we work with a lot of homeowners even not going through a real estate transaction. And so that's really we want any homeowner that wants to have coverage. You own a home, you never I don't know if you've ever like gone back and looked at, okay, in 2022, here's how much money I spent on owning a home. Not like the mortgage or any of those things or interest, but like what did I have to fix and repair? What did I have to buy new? What did I have to
I do
replace?
more now that
Do you?
I'm running a business and I have
Yeah.
to manage my money a little better. But yeah.
It's an important thing. So
So
yeah.
I guess my question to that is if you're not buying a home and getting a home warranty, can you? It sounds like you guys are
Yeah.
more than willing
Call
to sign up somebody on a home
call us
warranty.
up. We'd love to give you a quote.
Absolutely.
We don't even require an inspection being done. There will be a 30-day wait period
I was going to
before a
say, what are the
service request.
prerequisites
Yeah,
here?
there's a 30-day period where you cannot open a service request.
Okay.
That's just really
Well, that's not
important for
bad.
And
consumer
we even
agencies.
can do a monthly payment instead of a
Yeah.
one-time upfront payment.
Okay.
Make it
I
easier.
remember having needing a root canal one time and got some dental insurance. And they're like, you can't have a claim for at least a year. I'm like, can I get through this with a whole year before I get my root canal?
I
So
hope the answer was yes.
I tried.
Oh,
No, so that's good. So, mom, Kelly Johnson, yes, if you don't have a home warranty on your house right now, get one. Silverback can help you out, and I can even help you out as your son.
we'll even give you a discount, Kelly.
No, no, we're not going to give her. I'll get the discount and I'll
Yeah.
pocket a couple bucks in my. Like, thanks, mom. For all that allowance I never got. um. So, any last words?
Well,
Any last? Like.
I
I
got a
want
really
to make sure I.
important yeah,
Yeah.
I got a really important question just related to a would you rather that I'd like you to respond to. This one is, would you rather have an 8% chance of waking up every morning of your life being completely covered in honey from head to toe? That's one option. Or the other option is to have wet socks just nonstop. You can't ever take them off. They're
No.
always wet.
I'll say so. The question is would I do I have to be covered in honey all the time, 24 hours a day? Like
No, you're just gonna wake up
8% chance.
randomly. So once,
Just
like, maybe probably once a month,
what?
if you're gonna have a bad day, you're gonna just be totally covered in honey and your bed, all your sheets.
Oh, that's when wars start with me. Like,
It's probably gonna mess up your sleep.
all right, here we go. We're getting vulnerable here. So I would much rather have wet socks. And I'll tell you right now that anything sticky doesn't happen in my life.
No, nothing
Like,
sticky.
like when my kids are home alone with me, pancakes and waffles and stuff are out of the picture. Like they don't get them. And the reason they don't get them is because
fingers.
I just cringe with the thought of that syrup going everywhere. Like it is horrible to me. Like I know Amy will kill me on this, but newlyweds are like, "Ooh, what about the whipped cream?" I'm like, "Oh, hell no." Like I will like my skin starts crawling when it comes to stickiness.
Mine is related to stickiness on plates, right? Like, oh, it's been sitting out for 6 hours, and who's gonna wash that? That's gonna take forever to get that thing off. Like, it's so sticky.
I can't do it.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I
Yeah.
hate sticky.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wet socks, I can deal with that for a little bit. Not as much. So one question I have for you and Jason and Brian is because this has been a lot on my mind with I mean the real estate world is changing like and I think that with the fact that you can get information at at our fingertips as whenever we want, like markets don't aren't slow changes anymore. Like we're changing like like overnight, our markets are changing quickly. And I'm curious, what are your thoughts on the market and where it's heading and how is Silverback kind of adapting to those things? Because we have to adapt quickly. I mean, I, I'm a firm believer in any real estate agents that are out there. If you're not 100% focused on listings, you're going to get sucked up and you're probably going to be out of business real quick. I've been told by my coach so many times it's ingrained in my head, buyers are paychecks, listings are assets. And I'm starting to see that more and more and more as we go throughout our business that, I mean, the buyers' commissions are just getting beat up left and right now. And I don't see an end to it, especially with low inventory. So
Hmm.
if you're an
Yeah.
agent, and you're looking at this, make sure you're focusing on listings.
Yeah. So on our business side, I'm really grateful just from the beginning, from day one, we really have focused on renewals, 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 which has created a lot of it's diminished the pain of seasonality that we go through. And so that has been a huge factor in us being able to like weather some of these difficult times. There was a period where there was not a lot of home warranties being written on contracts because, there's 10, 20 offers on every single
Yep.
house. And so the agents that we were working with often they would still include contracts, home warranties on their contracts, or they were paying for them, or they had the buyer pay for them. There's too often where you go through an experience where, oh, I had this house and I wish I would have had this on a home warranty on that contract. So our business is strong. We've been focused on renewals on the agent side. One thing I'd really encourage is, I believe our market's really strong here in Utah. Anyone who's
Yeah.
looking at this market, it's a strong market. It's probably one of the strongest
Absolutely.
markets in the United
I
States.
would, as an investor, I would not hesitate one bit to, if a house comes on the market and I'm buying it.
Hmm.
I was offered the other day to buy something in Bountiful. Um, I really told her it was a good opportunity to list because of inventory levels. She's like, no, I don't want the headache. I don't care about the extra 20, $30,000. I'll just sell it to you. Perfect.
Awesome.
And I'm not going to hesitate one bit. I think I'm definitely overpaying for the house, but with the way our economy goes and the way Utah market is, like all day long,
Hmm.
if I can just get the assets.
Yeah. It is about assets. just they or historically are just going to appreciate. It's money in your pocket if you're the one that's controlling it. To my real estate partners, I'd say in the next couple of years, I'd really encourage you to focus on increasing the number of lead generation levers that you're focused on, not just the one that you've done for so long that maybe has fed you for the last year or
Yeah.
2 or 3 years, but what are a few others that I can do that's gonna, if one of those dries up, you're gonna have to go get a job. And so it's so important that this year you start forming the skills, making the phone calls, having conversations that you're going to be really bad at until you're really good at them.
Yeah.
Those over and over again to generate more leads. To homeowners, I'd really encourage you to make sure you take care of your home. Make sure that all of your your components, your HVAC, your furnace, your AC units, they're operating efficiently. To get tune-ups, um, to take care of all of your systems. Like this is your asset that if you don't pay for it now, you're going to pay for it sometime. And it's not like when something's going to break. It's not if something's going to break down. It's when something's
It
going to
will.
break down.
Yeah.
And so have a financial plan for what you're going to do if, this year your water heater goes out, or if your AC unit goes out this year. Um, Tune-ups are really important, and making sure you have licensed contractors come and look at them on a regular basis.
Yeah. No, I think that's some great advice. I mean, and that's something we do as um realtors is, I mean, when I'm dealing with a client, especially like a first time home buyer client, and they're like, okay, I've got like $20,000 in the bank and stuff. I am 100% looking out for their well-being after the fact, because the last thing I want them to do is be house poor. The last thing I want them to do is get in the home and not have any money for a lawnmower, not have any money for some repairs that might happen, because it will happen. And a lot of times we don't think about those things. And that's one, like, I like that you said that, like, hey, like have that preparation in place, because our houses are mechanical, and mechanical stuff will wear and tear and will eventually give on us. And that's where the maintenance comes in. That's where our warranties come in, and just being smart about that stuff.
Most people go get a dental checkup and clean up, right, once or twice a year. Is that preventative maintenance?
Yeah,
It's so important that you should do the same thing for your home as well.
yeah, exactly. All right, so I think I mean, I think we hit some great topics. We had some viewers. Thank you, mom. Just kidding. No, but I mean, I really appreciate you guys being like some guinea pigs here, because we play around with this a lot. I do want to take it seriously. I want to make sure that it has my personality in on this. And I mean, I couldn't think of some better people, and I think it went so smoothly. So,
No, fantastic. We
oh man,
appreciate it.
hey, there's Brian.
I know,
Welcome,
right?
Brian.
I am here. I promise. This is
All
why I
right.
brought Jason, though. Jason's the man. So
Yeah, no, I mean, we're like I said, I mean, we know Brian, he's the face of it, and he is representing you guys well, and it is, a pleasure to have you guys here
Well,
as
we so appreciate you too, as the interactions we've had. You've just been such a giver to your team, to homeowners, everyone that we know that knows you, loves and appreciates you. So thanks so much for
Oh, well,
having us
thank you.
today.
Appreciate it. All right, guys. We are out, and thank you for listening. We're here at the Own It Podcast, Infinite Real Estate Group in Silverback. See you later.
thank you.